Hottie, I've got a question for you. When you think about your future self, I want you to just have a picture of what comes to mind, or maybe some words. So when I think about, when I say future you, your future business, what comes up? What I now want you to think about is, why the fuck is this vision so far ahead in the future where, for some of you, it may feel like, yeah, I can grasp onto this, or yeah, I'm on the path. I think what we need to do is take our future self off a pedestal and realize that we are already that person. And what we also need to do is start to normalize things that our future self does. Like, this is no big fucking deal. It's interesting that when I work with clients and when we talk about making money and launches, okay, so let's use money as an example. A lot of people think about the goals that they want to make in business, and then they make out the things that they want. They feel so out of reach, and it feels so big and it's so far away. And this is just such a major goal. And I think at times that when we feel that stuff is really big and scary, we automatically kind of tell ourselves that things that we want can't happen, because we assume that there must be a really big leap from who we are now to where we want to be and the business that we want to have, that we kind of feel like that we can't really make things happen without some really big major changes, right? So it's like, if you want to make, $500,000 this year, you may start to think, oh, I can't do it. I'm already not organized. Oh, I'm not doing this. I'm failing here. Oh, I don't know about this. And this is where we're continually pushing stuff off, or putting things back, or being like, let me just not do this because I'm not ready. It's really interesting that if anyone came to me, and even if you were making 50 grand a year and you wanted to make $500,000, it's really interesting that even if I'd known you for 10 minutes and had a conversation, there would be so many things where I would be like, well, you're already doing that now. You already can do that now. You already have evidence that that's happening now. But a lot of people can't seem to find the evidence of that actually happening. And I think that this is a trap that we can fall into, where we feel like that the thing that we actually want is never in reach. But here is the thing that you all need to remember, is that the thing that you want it is more than in reach. It's happening at the moment, because the idea is dropped in and you already have the visual of what it looks like. So the fact that you already have that available to you means that it's a lot closer than you think. You can already recognize how it actually looks, how it feels, what this is made up of. When we can have a really clear picture of what it is that we want, we already know that this is kind of on its way to us, because we already can identify it. We can see things that we want. And we know that, there are little elements, right? I see this all the time where I know how I'm going to dress. I know how things are going to look. And it's really interesting that I'll open a magazine or I'll see something on Pinterest, and my first thought is, oh my God, future Peter. That's a great step. If you know exactly what you want and what it looks like, you have maybe you've got a clear picture, or you just know how you want this to feel in your body. Incredible. We love that. The second step of what you actually want to do here is you want to normalize that. You don't want to make this out to be this is a really big fucking deal. You want this to be like, well, of course. And you want to have that energy of, well, of course, this is me. Of course, this is what I want. And you want to start to normalize your future self. And the only thing that I will say is, this is where sometimes you will be living your future self, and because you have made this so normalized, which is what we want to do, you will probably find that one day you will be living your ideal life that you want to live, and it will take you by surprise, because you have just made this be so normalized. Now, I have a random example. We're going to bring in some dating into the mix. So I've been on third date holidays, and I feel that I've had experiences within my dating life where a lot of people are like, I don't even know how this happens to you. And I think that the reason that this happens is because I make things really normal. And anything that I don't want is really like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. For example, a man splitting a bill on a first date. A lot of people have that normalized, but they don't have the thing that they actually want normalized. So when we think about the future us that we're growing into, right? The business owner, or who we are as a person when we're not in our business, whatever it is. When I think of future you, what comes to mind? And then what I want you to think about is like really take some time to unpack who they are and what they do. And then ask yourself, what is something that I am making a really big fucking deal about? And how can I make that a bit more normal? For example, I have a check on my desk, like that I look at every day, and it's like that we have a $620,000 year. Where did that number come from? I don't know. It just felt like a good idea at the time. When I wrote that down, it's really interesting that it felt achievable, but it still felt really out of reach. And then the first month of this year, I did like $65,000 in sales. And then all of a sudden, I was like, okay, cool. This is going to happen. Like, of course, this is going to happen. It may take a little bit longer than a year. Maybe it's going to happen this financial year. That's okay. But I automatically normalized it. And it was really interesting that what made the month really good is I wasn't really working all that hard. It was basically around like closing people that had been circling me for a while. And it was so nice that I had this really good month where I was like, okay, cool. The year that you want is already happening now. Where it felt a bit funny is I remember going home the night that I realized that we'd had a really good month and everything kind of felt normal. And I think that we can convince ourselves that stuff is going to feel really different, that we are going to feel like that we ascend a different level when the thing that we want happens. And that doesn't always happen. All of the big achievements that I've had, it's really interesting, but it's sometimes like the littlest milestones that just hit completely different compared to these really big ones. So another reason that we want to normalize things is we want, when we get it, to feel like that it fits us perfectly, or that it kind of like slots in and we're like, oh yeah, we're home. And not something where we are so quick to sabotage it because it feels like that it's not us. And you see this a lot with people who kind of sabotage the success that they get in their business, and they do something or they get really weird or then they don't show up or then they have a breakdown, whatever it is. And it's because I think that they haven't normalized, or like, I'm going to call it pre-integrate. They haven't pre-integrated the person that they are kind of growing into, you know, and I think that this is where it's so important for us to make like these little, almost like incremental upgrades regularly and assess who we are regularly, so that we don't just like wake up one day and it's like we're just trying to be someone completely different. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we are like, oh, okay, cool. I'm $1 million me now. Let me snap my fingers and then I can't wear any of the wardrobe that I had. And I'm not going to have, like, I'm not going to say these things. I'm not going to do these things. And I'm not going to do that. We're just not going to do that. And I think that when we try to do that, this can feel really exhausting and we get into this identity crisis. So that when we do arrive at this future point, it's not like we need to do this whole like 180 and everything has changed. It's almost like the final little puzzle piece just like slots in and it's like, bam, we're done. We're not trying to do the whole puzzle. It's like one little bit just goes in and we are like, yes, we're done. I remember when I had my Pilates studio, I always loved fashion. I had an amazing wardrobe. I started reading Vogue when I was like 13. I've always loved like, you know, hair, makeup, fashion, styling, all of that shit. But I fell into a bit of a funk. And I think that this happens when you work in fitness and you just like are working like a fucking dog. I kind of felt like I was in a bit of a funk. You know what I mean? It's like, can you really be fashionable when the bulk of your wardrobe is basically wearing stretch pants like 24/7? I felt myself just like look at people in these beautiful dresses. And I had this picture, I don't know, it wasn't Kate Moss or maybe it was. And she was in this beautiful animal print dress and she had a belt on and it was stunning. And I wanted to be her. And I worked out that I wasn't going to wake up one day and do this 180. I had to start like being her now. And what that looks like was just putting a bit more effort in. So doing my hair a bit more regularly and not just like chucking it up in a bun. It looks like wearing makeup or dressing up or wearing that good jacket that I would normally save for special occasions or wearing my good shoes. And it looked like integrating parts of my wardrobe that I would reserve for special occasions. And I then changed it. So it's like I started to wear it now because today is the special occasion. And then what happened? It's really interesting. Like I was looking back at pictures in my phone of how I used to dress so much more casual. Like I used to wear Havaianas, like thongs or flip-flops for our American friends. And now I don't do that. Like I've got on my cute little Italian shoes that I bought from the shop up here. I've got my my beautiful little furry jacket on, and how I just chucked this on today without much thought. And how it's really interesting that if I were to rewind, oh my gosh, 10 years, this would have been like not a vision board outfit, but it would have been something that my past me wouldn't have just worn on a random Sunday to run up the street to get some flowers and then duck into work. I just wouldn't have done that. But the thing is, if I would have tried to do this in one leap, it wouldn't have felt right. So I think that this is where, I am huge on identity shifts and making changes, but what we really need to do is get clear on who we want to be and ask ourselves, what can I do to make that happen today? If I can identify something that my future self does, what does this look like? And this does not have to be appearance related. It doesn't have to be anything like visual like that. It could be a belief that you have or something that you do, something with your day or how you structure things. What we want to make sure is that we are regularly assessing who we want to be, and we want to start to normalize that vision by recognizing that we have things that we can do now. When it does come for the day and we have finally hit this, it's not like we feel we're like, oh my God, I need to now become this different person, because we have slowly been that person and we've slowly become that person even more every day. And it's just been that final little puzzle piece that's come in. I want you to think about who you want to be, and I want you to start and maybe even ask yourself, like, how can we normalize this future version of myself? When I recognize who I want to be, how can I see that I am already this person? What elements of my future self am I actually already? How do I show up as them? What do I do? What beliefs do I have? Like, where am I already this person? What could be the next natural step that I could do? And then lastly, where am I putting my future self on a pedestal? Where am I thinking that they are so much better than me, and this thing that they're going to do is so much better than me? And then what I want you to ask yourself is, how are you already doing that? So if you are working towards a really big income goal, or you want to have a really big month, how are you already doing that? Like, when you think about how that looks across a year, what's that broken down to in a day? What's that broken down to in an hour? Ask yourself if you've already sold that. Like, if you were to have $1 million year, what would that look like for sales across the hour? So just divide $1 million by 365, then divide it by 24. How much is that an hour? Have you already done that? There's so many things that you can do, and it's just about recognizing how you are already that person, how you are already doing that. When you normalize the vision that you have and your future self, and you make it no big deal, it's really interesting that you're not going to ever feel like that you're at a loss of how to get there, because you recognize that you are already that bad and fabulous and sexy person. Hot stuff. I love this. I love you. We're going to have the best week. It's going to be a sexy week. I am excited. What do I love you more than? Okay, take a look. Take a look at my nails. Take a look. Do you like them? We've gone a bit lighter. I've changed my color. This is Aphrodite, but it's not about my nails. It's not about the color. My nail tech is back. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Kylie, I love you. I'm obsessed with you. I felt like I could cry. My nails are just beautiful. They are long, they are skinny, they are sexy, they are just, oh my God, just look at them. Look at them, look at them, look at them. They're also my natural nails as well, except this one, because I accidentally broke that. So I love you more than that. I love you more than my nails. I love you just as much as my nail tech, Kylie. I probably love, I love you equally. I love you equally. What else do I love you more than? I love you more than, oh my gosh. So I just got my period. Literally, I plugged everything in. And I was like, let me go pee before I record my first podcast episode. And it was like, bam, period. Bam, some abdominal pain. Bam, a little headache. And I'm like, oh shit. So I don't love you more. Actually, I love you way more than that. I love you so much more than that, like 5,000 points more than that. But I love you more than the fact that my business is near this, like one of those like bulk food places. And I convinced myself that everything in there is healthy. I'm going to go and get like a selection of maybe like chocolate covered nuts, like a little nut buffet. It has to be chocolate. I don't want to just eat like plain nuts. And I did read something the other day where it's like, for like longevity, eat nuts. I am just rebranding it where it's like the chocolate has like the health benefits from the cacao. So I am really excited about my little pick me up and a little present to my PMS, my period self. So I love you more than that. I love you more than some sexy little nuts. What's my favorite? My favorite nut is pistachio, but if I'm going chocolate, I love like roasted hazelnuts or almonds. Always milk chocolate. I can't do dark. I don't love it. Like I'll eat it. I do love Loco Love. I do love Loco Love. They have Loco Love down there, but I'm not in a Loco Love mood. Like I want actual sugar. I want sugar. I don't know what I want. I just want, those shiny nuts. You know how they have the chocolate covered nuts? They're really shiny. They look like they've got wax on them. That's what I want. I want some shiny nuts. Oh, maybe some macadamias. So I love you more than that. As you know, Mum and I are fully into Gilmore Girls. It's Jan's first watch. For me, it's like my 12th watch. I love you more than Mum needing to know everything ahead of time. It's so funny because I love surprises. And Mum is like, what happens with this person? What happens here? Do they get together? She asked so many questions. I was like, just read what happened. It's really funny. She just wants all of the surprises kind of unsurprised for herself. Mum is also watching, and I feel like I can't kind of chop between too many TV shows at once because I just get too confused. Mum is watching this show called Mobland. I think it's called Mobland. It has Tom Hardy in it. I love Tom Hardy. He kind of just has this like sexy ruggedness. I'm so into it. And Jan is like, yeah, I see the appeal. And I'm like, oh, Mum, okay, I get it. I get it. I don't know if he's particularly hot in there. He's like a man with beautiful face. So maybe it's just that. What's he look like? Mobland. Mobland Tom Hardy. Let's have a look. Oh, he's just gorgeous, isn't he? Oh my God, that face, that man. Oh, Pierce Brosnan. He is sexy. God, what a good looking cast. This is a show that I would love. I love a show when you would basically fuck the whole cast. Isn't that fun? I love you more than the clouds are doing this like weird formation outside and it just looks so beautiful. I feel like that I could just lose hours like looking at the sky. All I need is a cup of coffee and like a really nice armchair and I am just set. Let me just look at the world go by. Oh, I love that. We love some mindfulness. Obsessed. And what do I love you more than? I love you more than our potential. How cool is it to think that we can do whatever the fuck we want? Like whatever we think about, we can go do it. How cool is that? So I love you more than the fact that we could just wake up tomorrow and that we could just go and decide to be that person or reinvent ourselves. Hot stuff. How fun is that? I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah.